afternoon, good evening, or good morning, whichever of the three, live from Biloxi, Mississippi, coming to you with a Unit 7 PowerPoint presentation presented by Jared Smith on the Great Fire of 1919 in Mobile, Alabama. Alright, so that's enough of my radio announcer voice. Let's go ahead and get on down to it. So the Great Fire of 1919, we were given assignment instructions. Assume that you are the Deputy Fire Chief responsible for the organization and management of the Fire Prevention Bureau. The Chief has asked you to develop a comprehensive approach to preventing another incident similar to the Great Fire of 1919. The Fire Chief has asked you to present a PowerPoint presentation to department personnel summarizing your plan. So, giving you a brief history, the Great Fire of 1919 in Mobile, Alabama occurred on May 21st, 1919 at around 3:25 in the afternoon. An entire residential section of the downtown portion of the city was leveled, only to brick chimneys still erect. Over 200 homes were destroyed, with over 1,200 people left homeless. The conflagration consumed 40 blocks. There were many injuries reported, but no lives were lost. Building construction was of legacy construction, with most of the area of town being older residential buildings made of flammable and combustible material. There were no fire protection or prevention systems installed. Low pressure in the water mains for that area of town at the time contributed to fire mitigation efforts being checked. There was a lack of resources by the fire department and the neighboring fire brigade at the shipbuilding facility. Brisk winds also contributed to the rapid growth and spread of the conflagration. 8 years prior to this fire, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire occurred in New York. The technology at the time, as well as fire prevention programs and public education, were very limited. Concerning the Great Fire of 1919, a fire alarm box was sounded at the grocery store, which was the origin of the fire. Even though this occurred, it is not known of any smoke alarms or detectors being installed inside the building. It is also not known of the fuel load as well. It is not known of means of egress via fire escapes or passageways within the building. As technology improved over the years following the Great Fire of 1919, so too did fire prevention programs, community risk reduction, and public education on large conflagrations. For the Great Fire of 1919, the two authority figures that were responsible for engaging fire prevention practices and code enforcement concepts were Chief Charles S. McCosker of Mobile Fire Department and Manuel Tapia of Alabama Dry Docks and Shipbuilding Company. Again, technology is very limited in 1919, so the level of code enforcement was unknown. In my personal experience as a firefighter with Mobile Fire Rescue Department, our department generates revenue from our Bureau of Community Risk Reduction, or CRR, which is responsible for fire investigation, fire inspection, fire code enforcement, fines, public education, and assisting police with arson investigation and prosecution. Fines can come in the form of violations of fire code, where a business owner is responsible for paying the fine. Grants are written for smoke detectors that are installed in various communities of the city, so it is of no cost to the department. Our department is an advanced life support, or ALS, provider, and ambulance transport fees are billed to the customers. Fundraisers are held at annual basketball and softball tournaments between the police officers and the firefighters. Because the Great Fire occurred in 1919, many steps have already been taken in the forms of building construction, fire code, ordinances, fire prevention, public education, and others, so that another large conflagration of that magnitude would not occur again. In my personal experience as a firefighter with Mobile Fire Rescue Department, our Bureau of CRR, as we discussed earlier, handles the public education component. This includes visiting public and private schools of all grade levels in conjunction with a fire apparatus and firefighters being present for a show and tell session with the younger students and how to properly operate a fire extinguisher for the older students. Community events such as smoke detector distribution is another initiative overseen by the Bureau. An annual basketball and softball tournament between police officers and firefighters encourage the public to come out and support their local first responders and ask questions concerning fire prevention and awareness. In my personal experience as a firefighter with Mobile Fire Rescue Department, the Bureau, CRR, the chief officers and company officers of CRR meet weekly with the fire chief and his or her command staff to bring forth awareness to any issues that may arise. They also lay out a schedule of community events to be held for the month they're in. Fundraisers may be a part of these events. The general public is invited. The Planning Division is also in communication with CRR about the annual budget workshops to determine the needs and resource requests of the Bureau and fund them appropriately. These resources contribute to the effective investigations conducted by CRR. In my personal experience as a firefighter with the Mobile Fire Rescue Department, the department has a professional development guide located on the department's intranet. It details various roles that are filled within the department as well as many divisions within. Guidelines, tenure requirements, certification requirements, and education plans are detailed for all ranks. A timeline for these certification and education goals is established within each of these ranks. Educational incentives for associates, bachelor's, and master's degrees are available in the form of raises. Pathways to career planning within any particular division in the department are outlined as well. For the Bureau of Community Risk Reduction, CRR, a member of the department must attain the rank of driver before being able to transfer to the Bureau. This requires a minimum of 2 years tenure within the department. Additional certifications and educational requirements must be met within 12 months of being assigned to the Bureau. In conclusion, the Great Fire of 1919 was a major fire in Mobile, Alabama area, its second largest in less than a century. Measures that were taken to rebuild the city after the fire are unknown. Fire prevention and code enforcement measures preceding the fire are also unknown. The city was rebuilt and it came back strong. There are still many buildings constructed during this time that are present in the downtown area of the city. The Bureau of Community Risk Reduction, CRR, is staffed with very highly trained inspectors and investigators that keep our city safe and those buildings in compliance with modern code enforcement, fire prevention, and fire protection. This is my slide for the references, and I appreciate you enjoying this presentation, and you have a wonderful day.